welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the Birdland Theater, here at the Birdland Jazz Club here in New York City. Blessing the band stage is a dynamic vocalist by the name of Claudia Acun. Now, 1999, she released her debut album, The Rhythm of Life, and for over the last 2 decades, she has really represented her native Chile, as well as brought the fold of American roots music to fans both here and abroad. Now tonight she's performing brand new music from her new album, Turning Pages, which is her first album of new and original material that she's recorded in over a decade. Tonight I had a chance to sit down and break bread with her to talk about why it took so long for her to come out with this personal project, as well as reflect on some of the great times that molded her career here in New York by playing vintage and great clubs like Smalls and Arturo's and Sweet Basil's and Bradley's, just to name the endless few, as well as talk about some of her mentors, including the great Miss Abby Lincoln. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of the official New York record release performance of Claudia Acun's brand new record, Turning Pages. It's part of the Pace Report, live here at the Birdland Theater, here in the historic Birdland Jazz Club. It's part of the Pace Report, here in New York City.
Estoy soñando,
Claudia, thank you for allowing me to come here for your official New York record release performance of this brand new record. Now, this is 10 years in the making. What took so long?
Woo! Life. Things that happen in life, you know. A child. A divorce. The business changing, trying to figure it out and how to be this new person as a mother, as a musician. And you know, usually women in all kinds of work, you take some time off work just to, you know, take care of the baby. And that took it a little longer, and then the business have changed, and I have this idea of becoming inspired by people like Ray Charles and Prince and many colleagues of mine there, like Edmar Castañeda and Elio Villafranca and Juancho Herrera, who have become their own labels or honors of their own masters. I decided that I wanted to do the same, that I wanted to own my masters and be able to work freely as to what I wanted to present to the public. And I wanted to write more and show people that I have this side too as a composer or songwriter.
And you brought me to my next question, because this album is really all originals, and you have decided to do some shedding, meaning that you, like you said, are writing about life and experiences. What are some of the most intimate and personal songs on this album?
All of them. All of them, because each of them is a chapter. And that's why it was interesting, because first the album was going to be, the name was going to be Chapters. And then I felt, no, it's turning pages, because as you write in a chapter, you turn the page. And I feel like in life we do that. And for that reason, each song is very important, because each song tells a story on that chapter in my life.
Who are some of your musical influences coming into this record? Or did you have an idea of where you wanted to go in when you wrote these songs?
I didn't have a clear idea, neither in a specific inspiration, but I think the people who have inspired me, they all came together to give me the confidence and the strength to take a chance on my own. And with that, I wanted to be as honest as to who I am as a writer, and not pretentious, or not try to write a song this way or that way. I try to respect that, and in that way, I think people like Abby Lincoln and close friends who are songwriters, and just the music itself, you know, I allowed the process to make me open and humble and not afraid to show, because sometimes you wanted to write a good song, but you don't know if you're writing a good song until the song gets to the public, you know.
I remember your debut album, Rhythm of Life. You've come a long way. I mean, you've been in the game for about 25 years. And I mean, when you came to New York, you didn't come in here with any life preservers or anything. You just swam. Let's talk about the transformation of you trying to come and accomplish what you've accomplished. I mean, you came here not knowing the King's English, and you came here and learned and studied, I guess, by way of the band stage of the old New York.
Yes. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm extremely grateful, thankful, and humble, because I would have never, when I look back as to what I wanted to accomplish when I moved here, which I had so many dreams, but I was not, I didn't have a goal. I was not like in a race, like I'm getting there. You know, I didn't have an end of a race. I was extremely excited to be here. I wanted to learn. I have, in all my capacity back home, I have learned as much as I could about the tradition of the music. I respect it. And then as I arrived here, things happened, and I became part of the scene, and I was very lucky, as many of us of my generation of musicians, that we were able to hang and see many people that were history and they were still alive, like Betty Carter, like Ray Brown, Stanley Turrentine, Elvin Jones. And they will not just go and play music in a club, they will sometimes show up on the jam session, and those things kept us, or at least I could say to myself, keep me very humble. And then we have people of my generation like Roy, Roy Hargrove and Brad Meldau and Jason Linder, and I can name so many that were so welcoming as I show also that I was a musician as them,
You know, you came up really in that last great era of New York City, especially the music scene. Sweet Basil's, Bradley's, Arturo's,
Visiones.
And also the record labels too had that last run too, because the first record you did was with Verve.
Right.
You know, now that you've done this project independently, how has it changed your business focus of becoming, still staying relevant in the jazz world, but also taking this globally?
It's interesting because, certain things you think because you're in the business, but then I'm really in the sense that to make a record is so much behind the scene, is so much that needs to be done, is so many steps, they're so crucial, that at the time when I was very honored and blessed to have been signed, for example, by Verve, of all labels, first of all, and then to be, like you mentioned, part of that last tell of how the business used to be, it was amazing. So it was a lot that I was unaware until this moment of what it takes in the business side to put a record out. And I'm still in the learning experience, because as the process finished on one end, I started another one. And I'm learning as I'm walking through this, almost like parenting. Like you think you have a lot of advice, people tell you things, but you really don't get to know until you do it. And I have a lot more respect for the business, but also knowledge. And that, I think, it's always a good idea and a thing. And I just hope that with this new era, we still, as musicians, been able to continue, doing this.
I was hanging out with Russ Musto, who's really, he's had a serious presence on the jazz scene for about over 50 years.
Yes.
And he was very instrumental in the beginning of your career,
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Russ was telling me something about how when you came in, Brad Mehldau was on your original demo.
Yes.
There was some great musicians on that,
Yes.
that record that got you
Yes.
that record deal.
Yes. I remember precisely, we did a gig at Smalls, and it was Brad Mehldau, it was Avishai Cohen on bass, Jeff Baller on drums, Abby Leibovich on trombone, and we did a couple of duets with Brad. And Russ always said to me, you have to put that thing out and make it a record. And I said, you know, because it was an actual, you remember those taped, I forgot that, yeah. Like that can be mastered, and he's always saying like, you have to make a record of that. And I guess when the opportunity comes, we may explore that, because I haven't even listened to that. But I know it's some special moments there.
I want to hear that.
Yeah, me too. Yes. So.
Pasar la pena, eclipse de luna en cualquier lugar, agüita de corazón para pasar la pena, son ilusiones que vienen y van. Agüita de corazón para pasar la pena, ya sale la luna, salgo a cantar. Agüita de corazón para pasar la pena, sonrisas que se pierden al pasar. Tengo el paso lento que me lleva por la sombra para ver si acaso sale el sol. Busco en un vacío sin sonrisas, sin despertar. Agüita de corazón va a pasar la pena.
Let's talk about home. Home is Chile. And tell me some of the musical attributes of your native country and how it pertains to world music, but how you've taken some of those musical elements over the years and put it into your music and also your songs.
Well, when I saw in 1991 Dizzy Gillespie play in Chile, and he was playing with this Afro-Cuban band where people like Paquito, Danilo Perez were in the band, it gave me an inspiration in the sense that I felt like, okay, if this legend of the jazz is embracing this music, my dream is to one day the music will embrace me as a Chilean musician and bring my roots. I promise to stay always true to that and pay tribute to where I come from, and I've always included songs from people that are key in the music scene in Chile, like Victor Jara and Violeta Parra. And then rhythms of the traditional music called cueca, which is the traditional music, and we dance that. Through the years, I think I've gotten more confidence, and also is the scene and a city like New York give you so many outlets and possibilities to know and meet musicians from all over the world. And the tour, also, I think I've become a musician as many of my colleagues who not only bring the roots where you come from, but you become the music. The music takes over that you no longer from anywhere, I feel. And it's been beautiful to sing traditional songs from Chile and put them in the concept that is a little more jazz and take them away from the folk, you know, and receive amazing comments from people from there, like, oh my God, I would have never think that this song could be playing jazz, or you put the rhythms of the cueca in that song and I could hear it, you know. It's just a beautiful thing to know and see the people where I come from, they love the music, have recognized that.
How has the reception of your music, what is it like back at home now?
I think it's good, you know, I'm not sure exactly.
How often do you go home?
When I can. I haven't been home in almost 3 years. But I think I've been very blessed that the people who follow this music have been very kind to my work. But I'm extremely proud that people who, because in Chile was a concept of jazz for many years, the jazz music was only for elite people interested.
But that's how it is perceived now here in America, unfortunately.
Oh, that's so sad. So many people who love the jazz, but maybe they didn't have a social or economic, you know, situation. Through the years, they're like, I always loved jazz, and I love that you have included our music into this, and I think I've been very blessed that people who may not like jazz, they have like, I like jazz because of you, and because you have talked about this and this and that, and have done this music, now listen to so and so and so.
I had the honor and privilege of seeing Abby Lincoln before she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And Abby's one of your musical heroes, vocalist.
Yes.
And I noticed tonight you closed with one of her songs, which I was like, oh wow, she's killing Abby's song tonight. Tell me about how you were exposed to Miss Lincoln's music, and also what she brought to the music.
I've met Abby's music back home. And I fell in love with her voice, with her lyrics, with her personality through the music. When I moved here, I met Alvester Garnett, who at the time was her drummer. And we started playing together. That band was Dwayne Burnell, Alvester Garnett, and Harry Whitaker.
And let's add that he's married to the great Regina Carter.
Right. But at the time, there was no marriage, nothing, you know, which I adore Regina, and she's a dear friend. And somehow we started talking. He's like, I'm playing with Abby, you should come. And he introduced me to Abby that day. And for whatever reason, we connect. And after that, she started inviting me to her house, and I started visiting her until the end, pretty much every week, unless I was not here. So this icon in the music, and as an artist that I was so far, it became familiar and family. And the inspiration was to a level that I could have never imagined. And I think as I progress in my life, I'm gonna feel more and more the depth of the mark that she made in my life as a writer. She gave me a lot of inspiration as to become more of a writer, as a musician, as a woman. Many things that at the time she shared with me, and I think I was too young to even understand, to be completely honest. And as I'm, you know, progressing and getting older or mature, whichever way you want to say it, I think I laugh by myself because I reminisce in so many conversations we have. And I'm so grateful even more now because I realize that she really cared about me. And I know she loved my singing, you know, and she was so encouraged of my art and everything. And I know she will be very proud of what I did with this album. I could talk a whole interview about what Abby means to the day and will mean to me in my life as a musician. But also, like I said, I call her family because I got to see so much about her that I would never imagine. And she was so generous to open her house and her life to me, you know. And it was just very natural, you know, like coming to see an aunt or, you know, someone like that you really close, that you click, that person in your family that you click. It's not your mom, but you click and you hang out with that person, you know.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Birdland Theater, here at the Birdland Jazz Club here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the incomparable Claudia Acuña for her time. Make sure you go out and buy her brand new CD, which is now available on iTunes as well as Amazon.com and CD Baby. I'd like to personally thank Miss Kim Smith for arranging my time with the great Claudia Acuña, as well as the staff and management here at Birdland Theater for their warm hospitality. As always, please visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. As well as please go to my YouTube as well as my Vimeo page to subscribe, as well as like some of the content that you've seen over the last few years here on the Pace Report. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.